welcome back to my channel. I'm Mel, I'm an Uruguayan biologist, and today we are gonna talk about a master's program that is in the University of Bonn. It's a program called Organismic Biology, Evolutionary Biology and Paleobiology, and today's guest, Ariana, it's a master's student there, and I brought her to tell us a bit more about the program and her background and what she's doing with it, in case any of you is interested. Hi Ariana, welcome, it's very nice to have you here.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm really glad to be here.
So to start, tell us a bit about yourself.
I grew up in South Africa, the US, and in Germany. And South Africa probably had the largest effect on my current career choice, as it is my dream to do some research on African mammals, and African antelopes would be particularly amazing, and if I could do that in South Africa, I mean, that would be the ultimate dream. However, I did do both my studies, so my bachelor's and my current master's at the University of Bonn, the Rheinisch-Friedrich-Wilhelms-Universität Bonn. My bachelor's was in biology, and my current master's is in Organismic, Evolutionary Paleobiology.
Wow, such an interesting background, super cool. And can you tell us, what are you learning in this master's program? What is it for, or what can you do with that?
As the title of my master's already says, it's quite diverse. So what I'd like to specialize in is mammalogy, partially because I like mammals and it's the study of mammals, but also the field itself is fairly broad. I love the fact that you can really dive deep into a single species or a group of mammals and really ask pretty much any question you have. You can look at evolutionary aspects, like who's it related to, how did it get here. You can look at how is it adapted to the areas we find it in now. What areas do we find it in? So that'd be ecological questions of where is it, what does it actually use, what's important for it. And then the more we know about an animal, the better we can actually protect it if it needs protection. So going into conservation as well. And some of the things I've gotten to really look at is morphology. So adaptations to a lifestyle in that case. I got to look at some antelope adaptations, which is quite cool. So I look at skulls. Then another thing I've done is some ecological questions of following, in this case, garden dormice around and seeing what they use in the area. That also will go into helping protect them because they are endangered. So I just really love that the field allows you to look at all kinds of things.
Yes, seems to be very complete. And for anyone listening that is interested in these topics or that is considering to do this kind of programs, could you give us some example of something interesting, something cool that you are working on or that can be done with such a profile?
There's just so many cool things happening in this field. As an example, one of my favorite classes was on the PETM, the Paleocene-Eocene Thermal Maximum, which is a time period in the past in which we think there was a similar CO2 and temperature rise of that of what we're seeing today. What we can do is we can go into the fossil record and look at how the animals adapted to those changes in the climate. And one of the fascinating things that mammals did, or at least some of them, is some of them became smaller. So perhaps some of the mammals we have now will also become smaller. And I find that quite fascinating to look into and see if we see those same changes as well. Then one of my favorite topics when it comes to mammalogy and conservation is the northern right rhino. So the northern right rhino is a subspecies of the right rhinos, and they are functionally extinct in the wild, meaning they can't breed and survive because there's actually only 2 left, if I'm still correct, and that hasn't changed. And we knew they were declining for quite some time. So as humans, we knew that, and we did try to breed them in zoos, but it didn't really work very well. But what people also did was they froze sperm and egg cells of the northern right rhino and are now working on fusing them and using southern right rhinos, so the other subspecies, as surrogates to bring them back. So to bring the species back from being completely on the brink of extinction. And if that works, it will probably change certain aspects of conservation in major ways, and I find it fascinating to follow that story.
Wow, that's fascinating indeed, and now I want to know how it ends.
It is important for so many different aspects. One I already mentioned, it helps to actually be able to protect them, and if the pandemic hasn't already showed us, nature is extremely important for our mental health, but also for our physical health. There's quite a bit of research going on in the so-called One Health area of seeing that a higher biodiversity actually keeps both nature and us healthier. And to be able to keep biodiversity up, we have to look into it. We actually have to know what's going on and then how to adequately protect species and habitats. And that's why the field of mammalogy, zoology in general is just so important.
And if there's any student or someone interested in this watching us right now, do you have any tip, any comments?
I guess my main tip is try, go for it. If you really like science, if you really enjoy it, if you think you want to be a scientist or you enjoy being a scientist, stick with it. I'm not anywhere in any sort of career yet. I'm very much at the beginning, but I did have people tell me, don't study biology, do something you'll make more money with. Same thing when I went towards zoology, and there are definitely more lucrative jobs out there, but I'm very glad that I stuck with it. And I am where I am, and I've learned what I've learned. I truly believe that if you're passionate about something, then it's worth it. And so that's the only thing I can tell you is don't listen to those people telling you not to do something. If you really, really want to do it, and if you really want to try, then try. It won't be easy. Even being passionate about something doesn't make it any easier. There will be ups and downs, but at the end of the day, if you enjoy it and you like what you're doing, then it is worth it.
Definitely. I'm sure we will hear soon about the cool stuff that you're doing. And these actually were all the questions that I had for you for today. So thank you so much, Ariana, for being here with us. In case you want to get in touch or follow her in social media, because she is sharing a lot of cool information about zoology in Instagram.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been really fun. This has been my very first interview that wasn't about a project, that was actually just about me. So I'm very excited to have got this chance. Thank you.
And thank you for your attention. If you like the video, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. I also have a Patreon account in which you can support the channel, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.